Oh my golly, absolutely loving it. It's a really great way to wake up in the morning and turn it on, breakfast Olympics, and catch up and see how people are doing. Because I have to say, I haven't been staying up too late at night to watch some of my favourite sports. I have been going to bed and watching it in the morning.
Yeah, there's a lot to catch up on, isn't there? There's a lot to watch. But
Yeah.
happily, some gold medals, which is brilliant. And I know you're interested in so many different sports because you're helping young people develop in so many different sports. Just tell us a bit about what Cass and Friends does.
Okay, so Cass and Friends is a charity that we founded in 2017, helping athletes between the age of 12 and 18 who are at a pretty good level of their sport, their regional or national level standard. And perhaps they've come from a slightly sort of more financially disadvantaged background. So the costs involved become really, really expensive when the athletes get to that level. So we have athletes who are traveling all over the country to compete, or even sort of going off to Birmingham to train. And obviously that's quite a lot of petrol involved, a lot of expense involved. There's lots of kit and equipment needed. So our charity helps to fund that. And we also offer them an 8-week sporting success mindset program. So it's not just financial help, it's also help in other areas as well.
Wow. And I know you've been going a few years now. So are people getting to know what you do? Have you got more athletes coming to you saying, can we have some help?
Well, funnily enough, we have, at the beginning of this year, we had 17 athletes, and in the first couple of years, we just had 4. So we have only been going a short time. So to have 17 athletes was wonderful at the beginning of this year. By the end of this year, we'll have 12 athletes because some of them are turning 18 this year. So then we lose them. And we still like to be able to support them from a sort of contact point of view, but we can't support them financially anymore. So we are in a position where we are actually looking for some more athletes at the moment.
Right. Well, let's hear what it's like being one of those athletes and having that help and support because Millie is with us, 15 years old and a really keen boxer. Hi, Millie.
Hello.
Hello. So, first of all, how much are you loving the boxing at the Olympics?
Oh, it's going really good. I love watching it every day and just seeing all the different styles and what GB actually want to get onto the Olympics.
That's what you're hoping to do, isn't it? Tell us about your journey in boxing. When did you start?
So I started when I was about 11, and I only started because my brother was doing it, and it was sort of like I wasn't going with them. I was staying with my grandpa, so my mum was going to work, and I was doing gymnastics at the time, but I just thought I didn't really want to do gymnastics anymore. So once I just went with my dad and my brother, and then I kept going.
Yeah, did you take to it really quickly?
Yeah, it was something I just thought like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Did the gymnastics prepare you in any way for the boxing? Because it's still a sort of disciplined sport, isn't it?
I think the only way it's actually kind of helped is maybe a bit of strength, but I think they're two completely different sports other than the discipline and stuff.
I know Fiona's really been helping you out. How has Cass and Friends helped you on your boxing journey?
They've helped me loads, like with expense travels and equipment throughout lockdown. It's just been a lot of help.
What kind of equipment did you need?
At the beginning of lockdown, I needed some pads to do some training in the garden with my brother. So we got some pads, and now we're coming into competition again. I got a new pair of boots to be able to fight him.
And all this stuff is quite expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, I've had a pair of gloves as well for the new season. It's not cheap, so it's like a really big help.
Just getting that equipment, the latest equipment that you need, and also getting to the events. Have you been able to get to any events recently?
So we've actually had to stop events because of COVID, but last Monday is when they could start again. So anytime now we could have any shows, competitions.
And of course, parents will know how expensive those can be, paying for competitions and tournaments. Are you hoping that Cass and Friends might be able to help with that?
Yeah, like maybe.
Fingers crossed, yeah. Fiona, all this costs money, doesn't it? The equipment, but also the tournaments, entry to the tournaments, and that's another way you can help.
It's hugely expensive, and Millie hasn't said that she goes to Birmingham to train, so she's in Birmingham 3 times a week, and that's a lot of expense in terms of petrol money. And occasionally, needing physiotherapy as well. So we're always happy to help with paying for physiotherapy, travel expenses, and yeah, absolutely entry fees. I mean, I'm not too sure how much it costs to enter a boxing match or about. Millie, you'll have to let us know. But I know, for example, the triathlons, and we're supporting some triathletes who want to go off and ultimately perform and do the Ironman triathlon. And to enter just one Ironman triathlon, it's £550. It's absolutely unbelievable.
It's a lot of money, isn't it? Certainly for families to find. And also, if you've got a very talented youngster in your family, it is tournament after tournament. Maybe you've got 2 children who want to go to these tournaments.
Yes, I think so. I mean, a lot of our athletes, funny enough, they do have siblings. So Millie has a younger brother, Danny, and he's just turned 12. He's waiting to compete in his first competition. So depending on how he performs in his first competition, we'll hopefully be able to support him as well. And so quite often our athletes do have siblings who are also very good. Well, I was able to compete myself a little bit internationally. So I competed in Spain and Switzerland, and I knew how expensive it was for the travel and the accommodation just to get out to do the competition. And then our son, who's turning 16 tomorrow, actually, he was on the England pathway for hockey. And in order to be part of the England pathway, he had to buy the kit that he needed to go to the training. And just to buy the kit was £500. So it's prohibitive for many families to be able to continue on that pathway that would take you to the Olympics or take you to competing at that very highest level. So the idea came really from that, combined with meeting a lovely local girl called Caterina Ferreira, who's a local triathlete. And she was 14, I think, when we started to support her. But because it was 3 sports, it's the swimming, the biking and the running, even more kit and equipment is needed. So we started the fund for her initially so that we could support her.
Do you must monitor the athletes, how they're getting on. Do they have to reach a certain level for that support to continue?
Yes, really, I guess so. So when they apply, they fill in an application form and tell us that they're at a certain level. So they would be certainly county level if they were the younger end, if they were 12. If they were sort of 13, 14, 15, they're probably at the regional level. And then as they're 17 towards 18, they're probably national and even international level. When we support them, we do ask them to post on Instagram so that we can keep in touch with what they're using their grants for. They post, as Millie mentioned, she had a pair of boxing shoes. So she put a lovely post on Instagram with her shoes, new shoes, showing that she'd spent the grant on that particular item. And then all the athletes do post their performance and how they're getting on in their races.
And it must mean quite a lot of fundraising for you because you're supporting quite a few athletes. We've heard how expensive it is. How do you raise your money?
Well, last year we were lucky to get 2 events in. So we got an event in just before lockdown. We got our dinner in where Eddie the Eagle, our patron, came along to the dinner. So that was really good. And then in September, sort of in between the 2 lockdowns, we managed to do a golf fundraising day. And again, Eddie came and played golf. He seems to be like a master of all sports. And so he went round the golf course with a number of other people. And that was another nice fundraising day. We raise money through grants. We do apply for grants to other charities that can give grants to charities such as ours. We have friends and family who support us really well. And we also, the Sporting Success Mindset program that we offer to all the athletes that we support, I'm now offering it to athletes that aren't within Cass and Friends and asking for a donation towards the charity for receiving the 8-week mindset program. So that's been a nice little income stream over lockdown while we haven't been able to do all our fundraising.
And of course, we've heard about the equipment and getting to tournaments, but it's also about helping athletes develop that mindset, as you say, and preparing to go out there in the world when they get a little bit older to get the sponsorship in and actually to learn how to be a professional athlete.
So the 8-week mindset program is something that we've delivered now for at least 18 months. The latest initiative, and we have a webinar on it tomorrow, Thursday evening, is our athlete branding and sponsorship program. So when the athletes leave us at 18, we can't give them any financial support, but we'd like to be able to set them up with their own a sort of understanding of how they can maybe sort of set up their own athlete brand, start looking for sponsorship so that they can concentrate more on training and performance goals and reducing the stress when it comes to finding money to pay for this kit and travel expenses and equipment that we've already talked about. So that's why we're doing this new initiative around athlete branding and sponsorship.
Yeah, there's lots to being an athlete. It's not just about running fast, being the best boxer, whatever it is. It's a lot more than that, as we've heard. So, Millie, what are your hopes then in terms of competing at the highest level? Where have you got to? Where are you hoping to get to?
So in 2019, I went to the National Schoolgirl Championships and I got a bronze medal there. So I'm hoping to go back this year, not to the schools championships, but the juniors. And obviously I want to get gold there and then end up fighting for England and then eventually GB and the Olympics.
So you're watching the Olympics really with an eye to one day being there?
Yeah.
How do you cope with big events? Are you kind of good under pressure when it comes to those big tournaments?
I'd say so, yeah. I don't really get overly nervous. I just focus on getting in there and getting it done.
Yeah, and we're hearing during the Olympics from the friends and family who are watching very nervously at home and watching on the TV. What are your family like when they're watching you boxing?
I think they're more nervous than I am, to be honest. I think my mum and dad, when they're watching, are just more nervous.
But very proud, I'm sure, of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Millie, good luck for the future, and hopefully, we'll see you one day up there at the Olympics. And Fiona, some great work, obviously, by the charity helping these young people. How can people find out more?
Well, our website is www.cassandfriends.org, and our Instagram handle is cassandfriends.
Enjoy the rest of the Olympics.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us on,
you.
Nicky.